Hey traders, the Roybert here. So look, I had a bad week. I think it started out okay. I made some terrible decisions and stayed in stocks that I was cocksure were going to go up and didn't. Like one in particular, Qualigen Therapeutics, QLGN is their ticker. Uh, they had a lot of excitement pre uh, pre market on the first day. And I saw all of that because one of their drugs, a cancer treatment drug, was approved. Approved in Europe, but approved nevertheless. That means good news for the company. I mean, that's not bad news, and there's no way to turn that into bad news. And it showed pre-market beautiful, beautiful, solid rise, and then a nice quick decline, and then the day opened, and uh, nothing happened, and it went down and down and down, and then I thought, well, it's going to happen, and then I stayed in it over the weekend, and Monday it got worse. It started out on Monday. It was like, oh, okay, finally, it is going to climb. I was right to stay in, and then it started going down. I'm like, oh, this is like a dip, right? And then it went down and down and down. I'm like, oh well, something's going to turn around because it started out the day going up, and then down and 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 down, and I stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed like an idiot. Don't do that. If it's going down and you lose more than like 40 or $50, get out. It's not worth staying if you're going to just keep losing money, because even if you if it recovers, you got to recover all of that money. Um, I stayed in, and I could have gotten out several times with like moderate losses, and I stayed until it was bad. I stayed until it was really stupid. And there was no recovering, and it still hasn't recovered, and it's even gone down more since then. And I'm like, I don't understand. It doesn't follow any logic. There wasn't any news about it being a public offering from the company, so that usually undermines the price of the stock, and then the stock starts crashing. And I thought maybe that's what happened, but they usually post that news on the application while you're trading, and nothing like that ever happened. And they never posted the good news again. Like they didn't want people to know. It was weird. It was weird. I still think that stock is going to go up, but now it's down to like $3. And I was getting in at 375, right? So you can see how much it's crashed. The thing is, the morning that it went up to like 7 something. So you could see where the excitement would be. There was a lot of dollar movement in that stock, and it would have been a great producer had it done anything, but it didn't. And you can see I'm mad about what it did and didn't do, but like I don't, that's trading. It did what it did, and I was an idiot. It was my mistake, not the stock's fault that I lost some money. So moving on, what I do want to talk about instead is, while all that was going on, my investments went crazy ballistic. Like, okay, so I told you I pick growth stocks, right? And I had been in Palantir originally, made a bunch of money on that, sold all that off because I didn't want to be in Palantir anymore. I didn't like the company in particular. I was unhappy with like two things: the valuation being out of control, and the philosophy of the company. So I sold all that. I rebought these guys, and these guys are Archer and Joby, two eVTOL companies, vertical takeoff and landing, and Rocket Lab, which is a competitor in the space services space services industry. So all of those companies were like on the brink, and there had been news about them like in the past year or so, or two even, and the news was super super good, but nothing had happened. And so you look into those companies and you find out things are really boiling under the surface right now, and nobody's talking about it. And I got into them several months before they took off, but they took off. For me, we have a portfolio that was just the slow turtle guys. So what I'm doing is the other two things is the investment trading, which involves finding growth stocks, waiting till they go up a bunch, and getting out of them, finding new growth stocks, and doing the same thing. Then there's the day trading, right, where you don't, where people like me and you perhaps aren't making any money at all. But if you're making money in the other things, then this thing's just a hobby, and eventually it'll come to fruition. Um, I am not worried about that, although I do it a lot because it's fun, it's a hobby, and it keeps me very engaged all week long. Like way too engaged. I'm really got to learn how to tone it down. I'm going to have to learn how to trade in a way that shortens my day. I break it up so I have enough money to like keep going and get in and get out and get in and get out and get in and get out. But what I should be doing is waiting for the one good trade, put a way bigger chunk of money on it, make $100 or $200 and get out and not do anything else for the day.